this lesson is going to be on the water cycle. You could say the hydraulic cycle or the H2O cycle. H2O is the chemical formula for water. That means water has two hydrogen molecules and one oxygen molecule. Okay, so you may have heard about the water cycle before. I know you learned it in 5th grade, but we want to go over a few more things. So first of all, we're going to talk about the sun. You need to know that the sun is what's going to start it all. You're not going to have a water cycle unless you have the sun. So the sun's energy is necessary to power the water cycle. Okay, so the sun shining, what happens next? All right, then you got evaporation. This is where that sun is going to warm the water in the oceans, the lakes, the rivers, any water, causing it to change from the water to water vapor. Okay, you're going to need to know that evaporation is going to go from water, which is a liquid, to water vapor, which is a gas. Okay, transpiration. Okay, transpiration is like evaporation, but this is where it's going to come from the surface of plants. As you can see in this picture here, it's like the water's coming from the plants and it's going to go from that liquid to the gas up into the air. All right, so now you got all of this water vapor, and then the next step is it's going to go through condensation. Okay, so once the warm gas hits the cooler air, because you remember in the troposphere, it gets cooler as you go up. So the warm water vapor is going up, it's going to get cooler, and then it's going to change back into a liquid, and a whole bunch of those little liquid droplets is going to form a cloud. You are going to need to know that condensation is the process that makes clouds. They both start with C, so that's really helpful. Okay, so now you have these clouds formed of little liquid droplets. You're also going to learn that there are the higher clouds, such as cirrus, that actually form into ice crystals because they're up so high, they're so cold. These tiny water droplets are going to bounce around in the cloud, and as they hit each other, they're going to come together, and all the water's just going to become larger and larger droplets. So what do you think is going to happen next? You got all this water coming together, and it's getting heavier. Once they become so heavy, the cloud can no longer hold them, and then it's going to begin to precipitate and go through precipitation. Precipitation can be rain, snow, sleet, or hail. And once this precipitation falls, it can collect in rivers, lakes, oceans, big bodies of water. It's called collection. Then you've also got surface runoff. Okay, runoff is going to be any water that comes from precipitation, such as the rain or snow, but it's not going to soak into the ground, and it's not going to form in those big rivers, maybe eventually, but then it will become surface runoffs, and it will eventually end up in rivers or lakes. Not quite soaked up to become groundwater, but it's just, chilling on the ground. Okay, so then what's going to happen next? You got water collected, you got surface runoff. It's going to start all over again because now you got this water on the ground. So the sun is going to warm the water, causing it to evaporate or transpire. That water vapor in this is going to condense to form clouds. Clouds are going to become very heavy before beginning to precipitate, and that precipitation is going to collect in rivers, lakes, and oceans. Then the sun's going to warm the water, and it goes on and on and on. Okay, here is a picture of the water cycle going into a little bit more detail. Check it out, very cute drawing. You also see in this photo, it causes evapotranspiration that's coming from the plants.